Oh, this tune is absolute vibes. Hey Elijah, mate, come and check this tune out I've been listening to.
Oh wow, that sounds really interesting, Judah, but I'm not quite sold on the fact that it sounds as good as the tune I'm listening to. In fact, if you listen to this tune, your mind will be blown away.
What? Really? Let me have a listen. Ah, Elijah, I beg to differ. My tune clearly sounded way better.
Is that so? Well, I'm in every mind to object to that, because this
It's
is
the
the Nintendo
Nintendo
Music
Music
Wars.
Wars. Hello and welcome to the Nintendo Music Wars, a brand new special and exclusive podcast series.
Each week, me and Judah will bring before you two game soundtracks and present three of our favourite music tracks from our chosen games.
We will then debate and explain why our chosen soundtrack is better in our own opinion.
Now, me and Judah are extremely biased, so this is where you, yes you, the listener, come in.
Each week we want you all to vote on which soundtrack you thought was best. We will be putting polls out on all our social medias, and this does include Spotify for those of you on Spotify.
And if you're unable to take part in any of the polls, please write in your vote to our podcast email, jirsgaming135@gmail.com.
At the end of each week, we will take in all the votes, and the one of us that gets the most votes that week gets 1 point.
And at the end of the series, the person who gets the most points wins the Nintendo Music Wars.
Elijah, the war is on. I will win this.
Not so fast. We all know who the musician is here.
Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Or watch on YouTube at the JR's Gaming Podcast.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Nintendo Music Wars. Hello and welcome to the Nintendo Music Wars, Episode 1. I'm your host, Judah Terry, and I'm joined by Nintendo music producer Eli Turp as we go head-to-head with some of the best video game music on the planet. Elijah, this is very exciting. This is our Episode 1 of our exclusive series to the podcast. We've announced it around on our other podcast episodes, and I've done a little video on my YouTube channel about it, and we're doing it. It's the first episode of our exclusive series, Nintendo Music Wars. How do you feel?
Very excited. I'm ready to get into it and to debate some music, especially video game music. Yeah,
especially video game music. So, a quick recap for anyone who's literally just clicked on this episode, maybe out of interest. Basically, I'm Judah Terry. I run a podcast, and this is a small sidetrack exclusive series that this was actually thought up, credit where it's due to Elijah, and we've kind of grown on it and created a series that we're hoping to put together, which involves you guys. So basically, each week, every Saturday, we are going to be choosing a game soundtrack, right? Which is a game, and a soundtrack is all the music used in that game, which is the overall soundtrack combined with lots of music tracks. And so we're going to choose one each, and then this is going to be released on Sunday, every Sunday. So you have until next Saturday to vote as to which game soundtrack that you prefer over the ones that we've chosen. So I'm really excited. We're going to basically present to you as well 3 music tracks out of the game soundtrack that we've chosen, and we're going to try and convince you, the listener, why you should vote for us, why you should vote for our game soundtrack. And I'm really looking forward to it. Me and Elijah have chosen 2 game soundtracks, and we are about to go and explain what we have chosen. But anyway, I would like to quickly add before we start, this again very much involves you, the listener. This series can't really go ahead unless you vote, because this whole series is about you voting and us drawing in all the votes at the end of each week. And quickly, when the person with the most votes at the end of 1 week gets 1 point, and then at the end of the series, the person with the most points, who gets the most votes, I guess, is the winner. It's going to be your host, your boy Judah.
yeah, I don't think so.
Exactly. So it's going to be really fun, and we're hoping this is going to turn out really well. So, guys, Without further ado, let's go. So, what have we chosen? I'll hand over to you first. You're the musician here, Elijah. What have you chosen and why? Go take us through the board.
Okay, so I've chosen the soundtrack for Super Smash Bros Brawl. I
Hmm.
chose Brawl specifically rather than Melee or Ultimate or 3DS Wii U because
Right.
it's the game I grew up with. I grew up with a Wii. I grew up with playing Brawl. That was my first Smash Bros game. Probably the one that I
Mm.
spent the most time on. And I think it's also, a lot of other people also grew up with it. So for me and for many others, it's very nostalgic. And
Hmm.
personally, I prefer it over like Melee's soundtrack and the 3DS's soundtrack. I think it has some really unique remixes in it, and it
Mm.
has a story mode, Subspace Emissary. If people don't know, it's like the only Smash Bros game with a fully fledged out story, and it's very
Wow.
very
Yeah.
good. And it gets music and things like that. So I think overall, Smash Bros Brawl compared to the other Smash games, in my opinion, is my personal favorite. So I'm putting it
Hmm.
forwards. And as for the
Mm.
soundtrack, it's got a mix of remixes. It's got just tracks from other games, and then it's got unique, original pieces written for this game specifically.
Mm. I'm
So
I'm
yeah,
also guessing like the music would have grown on you as well because you were growing up playing it.
oh yeah, of
That
course, yeah,
music, yeah, the music from that game, I guess, kind of grew on you because you're like, wow, this is because it's like also very nostalgic for you. I guess some of these tracks.
yeah, very nostalgic for me. Also, a lot of it kind of got me into other genres as well. It's like this is like
Mm.
one of the games that I heard music. I was like, this is really good. I want to look at more stuff online. That's what
Wow.
kind of piqued my interest a bit with video game music in general. So
Yeah.
that's
Amazing.
why I'm putting it forwards. I think it's a very very good soundtrack, and
Mm.
you will see that it's very good.
I,
So yeah,
this is this is like a rival thing, but where we argue against our own. But I've got to say, I do agree. Like this is the soundtrack is very good. We're gonna say our favourites of each other in a minute. So there's a bit of friendliness here. Yeah.
yeah.
So
It's not like I
yeah,
don't
it's
dislike
not
the one you've chosen either. So
exactly.
yeah,
It's not like a dislike. We're not trying to
yeah,
put
yeah,
each other's tracks down. It's just to see who you guys think, well, or which one you prefer. I guess just like a vote thing, and then of course I do. We prefer our own music tracks, of course, but we're not dissing any of them, right? It's just yeah.
mm.
We're gonna explain what we like about it in a minute. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah. So should I say my three chosen tracks out of the thing,
Of
or
course.
yeah?
So, before you explain what they are, I'd just like to say we're going to be playing, literally, the opening starts each of these tracks, so you get a taste of what these tracks are. The first 10 seconds, I think I'll be putting in maybe a bit longer, depending on how we want how good it sounds, basically. So, how it's going to work is you're going to read out the first track, explain why you like it, and then it's going to play
Hmm.
for you, the listener, and then you're going to go on to the second one, and likewise.
Okay, okay. I also think people should know. He's only playing a small section of the track because we want you to go to the description and listen to the whole thing
Mm,
in your own time, if you have time to do that. Or if you already know
mm.
it, then great. But if you don't, if you hear the little teaser and you're like, oh, I want to listen to more of it, this is why the teaser exists.
Yeah, it's a
It's so
teaser.
you can go
It's
check it
so
out. Yeah.
so please. I'll be putting the links to all the music that we've included in this video to its rightful owners in the description. So please go and click on those links if you can, and check the full track out and check the rest of the music out because this is about the overall soundtrack. So if you want to do that, you can. We recommend you do so you have like a proper idea of your preferred soundtrack vote. But if you're just you just want to get things over and done with, you can just vote on what your favorite one was just compared to the teasers if you want. I think we're all ready to go.
Okay, so the first track I have chosen is Mute City, which is a track from a game called F-Zero. It's this is the Brawl remix. So there's a
Mm.
Melee remix and there's the original and there's the Ultimate remix and everything. I prefer the one from Smash Bros Brawl because the intro actually builds up, whereas in the original it just kind of goes straight into it, which is it's
Mm.
nice, it's hype, it's exciting. But I think it's even more exciting when you have that build up and then it drops and then you're in it and you're like, wow, this is
Yeah.
really good. So
Nice.
I like the general mixing of it. I like the instrumentation. I like that it includes orchestra hits. If you don't know what an orchestra hit is, I don't know how to
An
explain it.
orchestra hit.
It's basically
An orchestra that hits. That hits
they
into the
all kind
song.
of make a noise at the same time, and it sounds. You hear it a lot. You hear it a lot in
Yeah.
video game music.
So
Like
everything, all the instruments just bang. They all go at once.
kind of, and it sounds a bit. It
For a
sounds a
bit.
bit weird. But it's like a stab, and you hear it a lot in like Pokemon as well. If you listen to a lot of Pokemon music,
Mm.
but if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up and you'll listen to some examples.
Mm.
But yeah, the Brawl remix of Mute City has orchestra hits, and I like orchestra hits, so that's good. The
That's
general
good then.
mixing is, like I said, is I like Brawl's remixes. Um, Also, there's a really really nice guitar solo in this one, and
Nice.
the pacing is very. I really enjoy the pacing. So not just the build up at the start, and then you're in it, and you're all, you're excited and you're pumped, and it's like it's a very driven piece of music. It's very energetic,
It is
but
very
not only that, it
driven.
then
Yeah.
calms down later on, and then picks back up again with the solo, which is like really really cool. So yeah, many reasons why I prefer this remix to the others, but that's I've chosen this as one of my 3 favorites out of the soundtrack to give an example of a style of song that is in Smash Bros Brawl.
Perfect. Let's give it a listen. And that was that track. That was a really nice track. On to your second track. What's your second track choice?
Yes, my second track is called Bramble Blast. It is
Mm.
pretty much the unofficial anthem of Subspace Emissary, the story mode. For any fans of Brawl, you'll know what I mean by that. It's basically you hear it a lot, and it really grows on you, and it feels like a song that you don't listen to. Like you hear it a lot, and you don't actually think, "Oh, I should go and listen to this in my spare time." But then
Yeah.
you'll see it pop up in the future and be like, "Wait, this is that song that played all the time in Subspace. I love this track," and you completely forget about it, and it comes back, and you fall in love with it. At least that's what happened to
Mm.
me. So yeah, it's very, very, very good, very unique, and very,
I
very
love.
nostalgic for many
Mm.
people.
Mm. I
The
loved
arrange,
it. I love this one. It's my
yeah,
favorite.
this was your favorite out of the 3
It
I
is.
gave. Yeah.
I'll say it out. I absolutely love this track, and I think you sent me on Discord the other day. Bramble Blast. It was a jazz cover. As a
Mm.
jazz cover done. That was really good as well.
Yeah, there's so many really good covers and all sorts of things on it. It is just yeah, it's
Mm.
very, very, very good. It's yeah, the arrangement is unique. It's the melody is on viola and violin, and they slide it. Obviously, it's not actually played live because it was on the Wii. It's been programmed so they can slide it up and down. But that just sounds
Mhm.
really weird, but really nice at the same time. And
Yes.
then in the background, the strings are playing pizzicato for the rhythm and then a bit of the melody, which is like iconic for this track. And for people who know it, they immediately hear the strings playing pizzicato and they just know what it is. For those of you who don't know
Mm.
what pizzicato means, it's when a bow instrument is plucked. So you play it with your fingers rather than with a bow. And
So you're
that's,
playing the violin with your fingers, basically.
yeah, you're plucking the strings, making a sharper sound. And
Yes.
it's, yeah. And then when it goes back to, again, music theory knowledge, when it goes back to playing with the bow after you've been doing pizzicato, that's called arco. So that is the indicator that you're then going back to playing with a bow.
Mhm.
Random music theory tidbit.
It's great. We want music theory in these episodes because I'm guessing a lot of music-minded people will be tuning in. So
Hopefully, yeah. But
hopefully,
yeah, Bramble Blast, it is just an iconic piece. It's so unique. I still haven't heard anything like it. And yeah, I don't know. It's so good.
yeah.
It's weird. It sounds weird. I don't know why, but it's even now, even though I've heard it so many times, it still sounds weird. But that's just the uniqueness of it. It sounds so
But something
different.
pulls you to it. Like something
Yeah,
pulls
yeah.
you to the song.
And it
Yeah.
sticks in your mind. Once you like, yeah, like I said, playing it as a child and then hearing it every now and I never really knew the name of it or anything, but it's always been in my
Mm.
head. Even sometimes it will pop into my head randomly, and I wouldn't know
Wow.
what it was, and I just know this is from that Smash Bros game. What is this?
Oh yeah,
It
I've
just
had that as well.
yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
with games that you've played when you're younger, and you just have this wave of nostalgia. Sometimes you could just be like eating a sandwich on your Sunday afternoon, and then just bam, that track comes into your mind. And you're like, oh, what was that from? And you immediately make the connection to that game, and that's like a nostalgia moment. And again, this just like impacts why Nintendo music and game music is also very powerful.
Yeah,
We grow up with it.
yeah. I love Bramble Blast a lot. It's probably my favorite of the entire soundtrack, I'd say, because it is just so iconic and so, I don't know, it's good.
Yeah.
You will hear now in a moment. So
Yes. So, are you ready to play this track?
yes.
Right, let's give it a listen. And that was Bramble Blast. Now, what's your last, third, and final theme? Not third. what's your third, last, and final song that you've picked from Super Smash Bros Brawl?
I have picked the main theme, the title theme. You know, the iconic Brawl theme, which for a lot of fans is seen as like the best original piece made for any Smash Bros game, which says a lot already. You know, it's also memed to death as well. So a lot of people might not even have played Smash, but they just know it because it's a meme.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's a meme for a good reason. It's a very good piece.
I do like it when memes are. A lot of Nintendo music has been put into memes, and I just like it when I'm scrolling through TikTok and I'm like, that's from the Wii. Yes,
there's just something about it that is memeable. I don't know. Yeah,
exactly, memeable.
But yeah, it's a very good, a very like legitimately well written piece. Again, I'm always pushing video game music, saying that it is just as good as other music, and this is like, you know, this piece is proof of that. You know, so talking about instruments, there's a concert snare drum, you know, doing a kind of marching band rhythm. There's timpani, there's cymbals, there's a whole, you know, string section, choir, you know, male, female, all of it, low end, high end. It's sung in Latin, which is like very impressive that they actually, you know, these Japanese composers wrote the entire piece in Latin. That is very impressive.
Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah, it's just a really nice piece. The intro, for me, I feel like for some reason the intro to the piece is like, because it was memed so much, I don't like it as much anymore. Oh, there are also flutes. I should know there's also flutes. But I don't like it as much anymore because of the meme. You know, it's overplayed a bit.
It got a bit too popular.
Yeah, but as soon as you get past the intro that you hear it in every meme, and you get to like the softer bits, and it's like it's so moving, and it's a really beautiful piece. And it is mad that this is the title theme for a Smash Bros game. Like it sounds very. I mean, it realistically, because I know it's now, you know, part of Brawl and everything, it doesn't sound out of place. But initially, it might sound like it's way too good to be in this game or something like that. You know.
Yes. I get what you mean.
It makes the game seem much more serious and much more intense, which is obviously a good thing for a fighting game.
It is. As soon as you load the game up, you suddenly feel like, oh, this is a whole new thing. Let's get serious.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I'd say a lot of Smash fans say this is one of the best pieces, if not the best piece ever written for a Smash game. So
right. So are you ready to give this a play?
Yes.
Let's give the main theme a play. And that was the main theme for Super Smash Bros Brawl. Now, that is all three of your favourite music tracks, Super Smash Bros Brawl soundtrack. Have you got any last things to say about this before we move on to my selection of choice?
I would say I chose these three to give an example of the original music, the arranged music, and the remixed music in Smash Bros. And to show the diversity of, you know, different genres and styles and composers that all went into this one game. So I do recommend checking out the three tracks that I that we have previewed, kind of. I recommend checking
Yes.
them out in their fullest versions and checking out the soundtrack as a whole if you have time. It's a very long soundtrack though, so a lot of people won't have the time for it, but if you do, it's definitely worth it. Yeah.
Definitely worth it. Yeah. Well, thank you, Elijah. That was definitely very interesting. Okay, now it's time for my selection of choice. What game did I choose, and what three music tracks did I choose from the soundtrack? Well, this week, Elijah, I decided to choose Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate for the 3DS.
Okay.
That is my choice, and honestly, this game, I think it's very well known. Thousands and thousands of people played it when it was released. I think 2015, or maybe I think it was 2015. It was first released for the 3DS, or maybe in 2016. I need to check my facts up on that one. But it's a really, for Monster Hunter fans, this is a very enjoyable game. It's very nostalgic for me. Particularly, I picked up Monster Hunter from the early age of what, I don't know, 14. I was, and I basically it was kind of like a mini game I always played. Monster Hunter 4 was my first one, Monster Hunter 4, and then I moved up to Monster Hunter Generations, and the music in all the Monster Hunter series are so amazing. But this week I picked out in particular Monster Hunter Generations, and I think we said this before recording, Elijah. It was so hard picking out our favourites because there's just so many good tracks
Yeah.
out there. It's just so many. So I was like really struggling of what I should pick because there's so many favorites I've got. I've come with three, of course, of my favorite tracks. Now I'd like to say Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate it has got a lot of. It is noticeable. It's a well played game among Monster Hunter fans, and it's very fun. It's very fun if you like Monster Hunter, and the music. But the music really does make this game on a whole different level. It's powerful, emotional, driving, energetic. There's so much different styles here, but it all kind of comes back to one sort of style in Monster Hunter, and it's like this orchestral Latin sort of old-fashioned music, and it really makes you think about I don't know, back in the time of Vikings and dragons. It kind of gives you have that sort of feel about listening to some of these tracks here.
Yeah.
But it really puts you in the element, I think, of the whole theme for Monster Hunter, which is it's like this time that was thousands and thousands and thousands, a whole different world where people kind of live in huts and things and have big like swords and things and stuff and slay dragons and monsters that are just really massive and brutal, and it's just the music I feel is really mastered to a T here. So in Monster Hunter Generations, for my first pick, I've chosen the main theme, the Leo Shan Lung theme, to be more exact. But the main theme for Monster Hunters, this is honestly, I think this is like the most recognizable song I think in all of Monster Hunter. Like everybody knows this song.
Okay.
It's for people who've played Monster Hunter. Like this was a favorite I think among many. And whenever I hear the word Monster Hunter, I think of this tune just comes into my head immediately. But before I talk a bit about it, what's your take on Monster Hunter? Have you ever played it? Have you ever tried it?
I've never played. Okay, actually, I have. Okay, okay. Well, I have and I haven't. I have in the sense that my friend gave me his Nintendo Switch for like half an hour one time when I was in college, and I played Monster Hunter Rise. But then I don't really know anything about the series other than that I have friends who like it. So I haven't actually really played a Monster Hunter game. I don't know a lot of the music. I don't know a lot of the gameplay or anything really. I have an idea of what it is. I have an idea of the franchise, but I'm not well versed in Monster
Yeah.
Hunter kind of things.
Is it your sort? It's not really your style, is it? Like, is it a sort of game style? Isn't you're not really into sort of that fight style?
I don't know. I feel like I could get into it. It's just I haven't really had an opportunity to. There's plenty of games that I haven't tried that I should have, but I just for no reason haven't tried them. So,
Yeah, it definitely is tough. I think you have to really practice and get good at it. Like, it's I've got to say, I think I'm pretty good at it after lots of years of playing it. But it's definitely, I love a good challenge, and this was amazing. I really want you to get into this because the music, particularly, I think, is right down your street. There's so many tracks I really want you to give your opinion on in the future, maybe on your channel, or even talk about, because there's so many tracks I think you would like. But yeah, for my first pick was the main theme again, and first of all, let me explain why I like this theme. So this theme is probably one of the most powerful themes that you'll ever hear in Nintendo music games. There's loads of powerful themes, but this one is one of the most powerful popular themes. So for this first one, it's very orchestral. Very orchestral. There's loads of orchestra throughout most of these themes that I'm about to play. It's loads of stringed instruments, from violins to violas to the double bass to, for a lot of trumpets, horns, things like trombones, trumpets. It really does. So the main sort of drive throughout the whole song is I don't really do it justice at all, but it's that sort of this is main sort of tune that kind of drives the entire song, and that's really propelled by the horns, the trumpets. And as soon as you hear that song, like, it brings me back to those days of me playing it when I was 14 years old, and I was really ready for this. Booting up that game, hearing that tune. The trailer had this song in it. It made the game It made this game a whole lot more people wanted to play it a lot more, just because the music made it sound a lot more exciting. As you said, like with Smash Bros, like the music was so powerful, it made it more serious. Than you'd actually think it is, and this makes it so serious. Like this track, honestly, it's one of my favorites. Now, it does repeat quite. Like, it's one of the. It does repeat. It does repeat. Not that bad. The loop isn't that bad at all, but it does repeat. But you don't notice it because you're just having so much sort of fun. I guess you don't really notice it.
Yeah, I think for me as well, listening to this that you sent it to me. This is my favorite one, by the way, out of the three you sent.
Nice. Yeah,
But
that's his favorite.
Even though it repeats itself, I don't mind that at all. I really like this one. So I don't care that it repeats. I'll listen to it on repeat anyway. It's like it's that good for me. Yeah.
Yeah, glad you like it. Would you like to give being a musician yourself, would you like to quickly give your quick opinion or rundown of this track particularly, or anything you'd like to say about the instruments used?
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
It's
I think
fine.
the horns give it a sense of royalty at the start.
Oh, 100%.
It's very royal. It's super, like, I don't know. It gives us this grand sense of importance, but it's just nice. And if this is the main theme, because I see it as Lao Shang Lung, whoever that is.
Yes,
it's their theme as well. Or whatever.
it is.
It seems to be very important, and I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I'm a big fan of orchestral pieces, and for me, this reminds me of something like that's a mix of, like, since I haven't played Monster Hunter, for me, this is like a mix of Zelda and Xenoblade kind of put together. That's what it sounds like to me, listening to the few pieces you've sent me. It sounds like a mixture of those two kind of game OST styles. So for me, I really like this. Also, it sounds a bit like Superman at the beginning, like it's kind of almost a Superman thing, but yeah, it's
like a hero save the day sort of tune.
Like
definitely gives that vibe off.
It's a bit similar, but yeah, it's I like it. I think it's a very good piece, and you've chosen definitely my favorite of the lot you sent, and I just genuinely really like it. I think it's definitely worth listening to.
It is. Glad to hear it. I'm glad you like this tune. I'm going to give my favourite at the end out of these three, my top of all of it. But yeah, this is very powerful, very royal, and again, as I said, the whole Monster Hunter franchise is about running and playing, running through intrepid conditions and taking down dragons, right? With resources and limited time. And there's so much things against you, and this gives you the motivation to play it. Like, honestly, this one soundtrack just is so serious.
It's
so anyway,
written as well.
It's beautifully written. It's beautiful. That's one thing I always missed out there. It's beautiful. It's energetic and beautifully strong. It's powerful, very powerful.
Well spoken.
Well spoken. Thank you. Right, now let's see if you feel the same. and that was the the Leo Shan Lung theme, the main theme of Monster Hunter. I hope you enjoyed it. Right, now on to my second theme of choice. It's track 2, Fanged Beast Trio. Fanged Beast Trio. Now, this is the theme of the Fanged Beast Trio. Now, for each monster that you hunt or you fight in the game, this is what I really like, the dedication. They've written an entire orchestral piece, live orchestra, to each monster. But again, this just really notes out the high amount of work put into each game. Like, again, and then now, like, how are we gonna? This is a quick sidetrack, but don't you agree, Elijah? It's so upsetting that Nintendo have kind of shut down their 3DS sales anymore. Thinking about back in the day that they put so much effort, real orchestra, into these games, and now you can't buy them like off the actual Nintendo anymore. You have to buy them off resellers or the H shop. It's that, yeah, but yeah. And my point is the amount of hard work. Great respect goes out to these people who made these themes. But yeah, again, each beast, each monster has their own theme. This is my favourite. I would say I have a couple, but I can't put them all in at once. But this is my favourite sort of fight. When you're fighting the Fanged Beast Trio monster type thing, this theme plays. And basically, what I like about this one, it's very rapid, very fast paced. It's the bongos kind of lead this music. So there is percussion, and the bongos are like a main sort of a drumming percussion instrument in this particular track, and they're very fast paced. It's like it's leading the entire track. And then there's trumpets in this that kind of lead this song. It's like dun 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 dun, and it comes in waves. It hits in waves, and you've got the drum. The bongos are being hit really fast. Boom, then it goes dun dun, and it's not like a loop. The whole song kind of gradually climaxes and then goes down again. You can't really tell where the climax is almost, because it's just so fast paced, yet so held together, so that the song is held together so well, but at the same time it's fast paced. At the same time, you can't tell where the climax is. It's just basically a very and it gives you that energetic sort of feeling, to fight. It's a very, you can definitely. I'm not really explaining it that well at all because it's hard to explain. But the overall feeling you get from this song is definitely one of intrepid battle. Right? You're ready to fight this thing.
It's very intense. Yeah.
It's very. That's it. You've said it right well there. Intense. Intense indeed. The bass I really liked. If you're listening with headphones on, the bass I can't tell if it's a double bass they use or an electronic bass, because again this is very orchestral. This is very all these pieces you're about to hear are orchestra. Not like electric guitars. It's all orchestra. So I'm not sure if it would be a double bass, but then the bass line kind of moves the entire thing. It's like doom 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 doom, and then it kind of moves the entire song as well. The bass line, and it's very fast, but at the same time very well collected. So. Yeah, I mean, and anything you would like to add on this? I kind of explained it quite terribly, but then again, I tried.
You explained pretty well. Yeah, I think there's I don't know, there's a lot to say here, and there's also not a lot to say here. I don't know how to word it.
Exactly.
It's like you've summed it up pretty well. So I'd say it's a good battle theme, definitely. It's
battle theme.
Very like primal in a sense. I get that kind of feeling from it. I feel like it's very I don't know. I feel like you'd fight one of these beasts in like a jungle or something.
Yes.
They got that kind of vibe with the percussion and everything, and
Yeah, it definitely gives the feeling of fighting some big snake dragon in the jungle, and that definitely gives us that vibe. But yeah, without any more talking from us, let's let the music do its justice, and here's the teaser. And that was the Fanged Beast Trio theme. Hope you guys enjoyed that one, because I did. Now for track 3, the last and final third track out of my 3 that I've chosen from the soundtrack. And this one is very nostalgic to me. It's very beautiful. This is called Bherna Village. The Bherna Village. I keep calling it Bherna Village, but it's like pronounced Bherna. It's very strange. Bherna Village theme. Now, this is like when you start up Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate for the 3DS. When you first play it, you're put in this village, and the village is called, hence Bherna Village, and it's like a cozy little town in the countryside, and you can all the cat, all the I've forgot the names off the little cats now. I've not played it in quite a time. There's these little cats that accompany you, and they kind of live there along with the humans, alongside the humans, and it's kind of where you reside. It's where your home is, I guess, and stuff, and it's where you go to retreat and stuff, and it's where everyone else is. But it's got a really lovely theme tune to it that I can't get enough of it, and it's very beautiful. It's not like the other two themes you've heard, which are very kind of strong and powerful, and but this one is very, when you get into it, it really does kind of bring emotions up, and it's very. I feel like I've heard this tune. It's not like it's not. I don't think it's a leitmotif, but there's something in this tune that's reoccurred several times throughout the game as well.
Okay.
Yes, I recognised this. Would you say that's a leitmotif?
That would be a leitmotif then, yeah.
Yes, yeah, I did. For those of you who are like me, Monster Hunter fans, you probably would also know this. But there's this kind of tune that's very mysteriously woven into this one theme song that is actually reoccurring in most of the other songs throughout the game. And you can kind of hear it if you listen carefully. I may be wrong, but that's what I think anyway. But it's very beautiful. First of all, let's go what's into it. It's got the guitar is very gentle in the background, but I believe that also adds there's different layers to this. It's like a layered song, and it all creates this beautiful conundrum. The violin is the star of the show out of this piece, though. The violin is kind of playing the main theme, which is the leitmotif as well. It's like and it's like it's going throughout the entire song, and it kind of gets more powerful and goes in waves. And it does loop, but you do not notice it, honestly. I mean, you've got to kind of really listen carefully, even if you're playing the game, to hear it loop. But I believe it's really fitting for a cozy. Here's the thing: the vibe is perfect, right? This is an old-fashioned village. It's almost. Would you say it's Latin? The tune. It's almost like Latin.
It's very, very unique in the sense that like you can't really pin it in a genre. I feel like all like video game village themes. They're all like, it's a village theme. It's very homey with the guitar and everything. But it's I don't know what genre you would really put it in.
I mean, you're a fan of Skyrim, right?
Yeah.
It's a similar village to that, so it's pretty old.
Yeah,
old.
I guess you could almost call it folk or country, but it's not like folk or country that you would think like you listen to on
old,
the radio. Like
it's almost like Viking, Latin, old folk almost.
Yeah,
this is Dragon times. This is.
It's basically just a video game genre, I guess.
It is. It's just video game. There's not a genre to it. Elijah put it quite well, though. There's not a genre to this. But then again, it's a beautiful thing. This song again. I think is out of the entire lot, it's my favorite. This is my favorite track. And I think many of you should understand why. It's really nostalgic for me, because I don't know, this is just, there's certain songs that are really emotional. You listen to them when you're younger and you're playing the game, and then when you hear them again years later. Now I'm 18 years old, and I was like, wow, when I was 15 playing that, this just is emotional for me. It's like, wow, it's such a nostalgic theme. So again, very nostalgic, very beautiful. The violin is the star of the show, kind of leads the entire song. There is also very small instruments that you kind of don't notice, but kind of add a rhythm to it, like clickers or classic. I don't know what you should call them, but they're not. They're not Spanish or anything. They're not castanets.
The Spanish version would be castanets. It could be. We again, you can't really tell unless you see it, because they all sound the same.
Because there's so many. Yeah, exactly. You said so. We can't really tell, but there's these little clicking, like clickers. We should call them clickers for now. These clickers and they kind of you'll hear. You know what I mean when you hear it, but they kind of also lead it in a very unique way. But it's a very layered song, and I hope you guys enjoy it. that was Bherna Village theme. I hope you guys loved it as much as I did. But yeah, that's it. We've both given our three chosen tracks. For a roundup of my three chosen tracks from Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, I'd like to say again, I kind of did this at the beginning, but the whole soundtrack for this, I believe it should be voted for, is because it's it's not given enough clout. It's not given enough. Not enough people notice this, right? I don't think. Again, this is a whole thing. I think video game music isn't noticed enough. I think it's people just don't give it enough respect as it needs. But again, this is a hidden gem. This again is a hidden gem of Nintendo game music that you should listen to. It's just really powerful, emotional, energetic, and the main thing is it sums up the game really well. They've taken the game like, what is this? This is Monster Hunter. We're hunting dragons. We're killing dragons. This is a dangerous sort of game, and they've made music for it in an orchestral form, which is just amazingly fitting for each theme. Like it perfectly fits, and again adds a whole new level to the game, which makes you want to play it more. And again, music is a massive part of making games more fun. That is it. We've both given our three game tracks each. Three game tracks, three soundtracks each. Now it's time for the debate, Elijah. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Why our soundtracks should win? Now, I would like to compare. Again, it's you first, because you're the musician here, and you kind of thought this idea up. I'd like to again bring credit back to this was Elijah's idea. So please, yeah, well done, Elijah.
I deserve no credit. It's fine.
it's good, but yeah, I want you to explain why you think yours should be voted for as compared to the ones that I've chosen.
Okay, I think my soundtrack, Super Smash Bros Brawl, I think the overall soundtrack and my three favorites should win because there is more variety in my soundtrack. There is more tracks in general to the actual soundtrack. I think there's a bit more depth to a lot of the pieces. Obviously, a lot of it is very simple because a lot of the tracks in Super Smash Bros are like very, very old, or they're from very, very old games, so they might be written quite simply. Might not have that many layers to them, but even those ones are good. But there are then like Bramble Blast, the main theme, things like that have different layers and all sorts of things that going on for them that make it very complex and make it very interesting to listen to. I also think because with Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate 3DS, with that game's soundtrack, it's all very orchestral, which I love, but it needs a bit more variety compared to Super Smash Bros. I feel like I kind of win on the variety side. Because, although obviously you could make the argument, Monster Hunter doesn't really need that much variety because the music fits the game, and fair enough, fine. But if you were looking at it in the sense that you need variety, I kind of win there. But no, I think I said before, as someone who hasn't played a Monster Hunter game, I hear the songs and I kind of hear a mix of like Zelda and Xenoblade, and I like it. I like it a lot. However, although the Lao Shang Lung theme is like amazing, and I actually am like in love with that theme already, the Bherna Village theme, for me, because there's no nostalgia there, I actually don't like it.
Oh, you don't like it?
I don't like because
why don't you like it?
I've heard so many video game village themes in my time, and I've just heard so many better village themes in games like Xenoblade, Zelda, even Pokemon. I don't know, Skyrim, anything. I just feel like there's a lot better village themes out there than this one.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Which is, I know it's a shame because it's your favorite, but that's just my opinion. I think it's not
rubbish.
Bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's still good, but I just personally don't feel anything from it. I do like how the main melody violin is like expressive enough. I do like that sound, and obviously the guitar is very homey. And if this is a game you played in your childhood, it'll be very nostalgic to you, and I can understand that. And that's nice. But for me, as someone who hasn't played the game, I don't feel anything particularly from it. I just know, another village theme. Kind of sounds a bit generic to me.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
I won't nitpick any more than yours, but yeah, I think overall, because of the variety in mine and because of maybe the quality, you could say, and not nostalgia, but the iconicness of the soundtrack and of the series, I think it should win for those reasons. And also, I just think there's more things to jam out to, and then there's also the things to be really like emotionally pulled by. I just feel there's more that my one can offer, in my opinion.
Right.
There's my
There's your
reasoning.
present
So you may
reasoning.
now debate and argue with that. That's fine.
All right. So yeah, first of all, your pick was variety. I do agree with that. I'll say I agree with your choice of variety. There is certainly variety in yours more over to mine. But then again, with the whole Monster Hunter Generations, I think you may have said this before, but there is great variety, but you have to be more of an orchestral minded person because there is variety within the orchestra songs. Now, with my there if you think about it, they do kind of all sound the same because they're all orchestral, right? But if you think about it, they're all very different. For instance, like the first one that you like, the Leo Shang Lung theme, main theme, that is very energetic and pumping forward, as compared to Bherna Village. Bherna Village is a lot more slow paced, gentle, and rhythmic. It's a lot more better. Now, I think that in that sense, there is a bit of variety, but I do understand that with yours there is definitely more than one genre. So I do agree that there's more variety for the general listener.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
if you enjoy Monster Hunter soundtracks, then obviously your Monster Hunter soundtrack is very good. And from what I've heard, I enjoy Monster Hunter soundtracks. I'm not saying, again, we're not saying any of the music is bad, but we're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
comparing the good, the goods outweigh
We're
the other
comparing the
good.
good as
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Why we
I
should
do
vote.
agree with
Yeah.
you that, your Monster Hunter does have variety as well in its own right.
Its own
The
right.
themes are
Yes.
different. They don't actually sound the same. They just sound, obviously, they're similar because it's orchestral, but it's
Mm.
still different. You know.
Yes.
But I do
It
just
is.
think that because Smash Bros has more to offer for the
Mm.
general listener. Yeah.
Here's my argument with that, though,
Mm.
right? Because I like your tracks. If I was to dislike one of them, it's going to be hard because I am quite a fan of most of the tracks that Elijah's chosen for the Super Smash Bros one. But if there's one I didn't like, it's got to be probably the main theme actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's the choir, right?
Mm.
I do understand why people do like it. Choirs are nice. It is like, here's the thing. I'm not putting it down as in. I'm not saying I don't like it. I just don't really. It's not something I would go back and listen to.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not a big. This is kind of personal though. This is like my opinion. I'm not a massive fan of choir music in a game like Smash Bros. It
Okay.
depends
Yeah.
how it's done. I think choir music is very. It's a whole different kind of genre, and it's got to be done very carefully. I believe that the music, the choir they kind of did in that first track, it was good. It was all right. Like, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying it was mid though. It wasn't. It didn't. It didn't like drive me to want to listen to that track again. And I think they could have done a bit more better with a bit more electronic variety, maybe. I don't know, because the very Super Smash Bros. Right? I prefer definitely the first one. The which ones did you choose? Yeah, the F-Zero Mute City. Right?
Mm.
That was really really energetic. The rock sort of vibe to that. But I believe that was even better than the main theme. Yeah, the main theme was all
Okay.
right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there was too much. I just personally think there was a bit too much
That's fair.
attention to the
That
choir.
is fair because art is subjective. Obviously, we all
Yeah,
like different genres or different.
it's more a personal thing though. It's not like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is art subjective.
But okay. Okay. I understand that. I understand that. I think
Yes, yes.
that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Just thinking if there is a counter argument, but realistically, it's more. I can't counter argument your opinion
Yeah, it's more
because
opinion. Like, I think
I can't be
people
like,
who,
"How dare
yeah,
you not like choral music in video games?" Blah. It's just
yeah,
it's
yeah.
I
I
think
think,
okay,
yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
yeah. A lot
Fine.
of people will probably disagree and agree with me. It's just opinions, isn't it? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
honestly, I do think another thing. I think why people should probably vote for me is probably because, like, I don't know, like mine's more. I feel like more motivated from mine, but I feel
Okay.
like more grooved to yours. This is very hard, you see, because they're both good, but it's a
I
different
guess it's
style I
what you're
get.
looking for, what you put, what the okay.
Mm,
Obviously, for our listeners, again,
mm,
it's less of you voting for like, do you like Eli more than Judah? It's not that.
yeah.
It's do you like this soundtrack more than this soundtrack, really? So for
Mm,
the listener, it's like if you enjoy things that are more groovy or things that can you can listen to while you're studying, whatever. I don't know, that kind
Mm.
of thing. Then yeah, you probably would vote for the Smash one. But if you want really, really emotional pieces, or you want, I don't know, if you want
Yes.
like a kick of nostalgia, if you've played in this Monster Hunter game, then
Mm.
you'd probably go on the other side. So really, it's
Mm.
obviously it's all up to the listener, and it's up to their experience and their preference. But
It is.
yeah, I would say it's I think there's a clear cut
Mm.
between the two soundtracks of what
Mm.
the styles are and what the
Mm.
variety is between them, and in their own games, what variety they have. So it is just a subjective thing of what the listener would prefer.
Yes, I do agree. That is again, it's listener preference. So
Mm.
we are giving a little kind of small debate on why we think we should be, why we like ours best. But it's up to you, really. It's more of, again, it's artist perspective. Which one do you like best? And I'm really interested to see who likes it, which one better.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, of course, and yeah, don't be biased. Just choose by your own sort of pick. But if I was to make one last sort of remark on this
Hmm.
small little debate section, it's almost like, don't take this in the wrong way, it's almost like a small attack on the Super Smash Bros Brawl music. It's like, I would say I'd be a lot more motivated to play the Super Mario Bros if I put my track in the place of F-Zero. Let's just say I took F-Zero out
Hmm.
and I put the main theme, Lao Shang Lung theme. Now here's the thing. Again, it is very. A lot of people might disagree with this, and I can understand why, because it's like, again, F-Zero was done absolutely brilliantly. Again, it's probably my second favorite on the list. Again, tier list, Bramble
Hmm. Yeah.
first, F-Zero. But then I'm like, I'm a lot more emotionally. Again, this is, I think, artist perspective. I'm a lot more emotionally driven by the main theme for Monster Hunter than I am by the F-Zero theme. It's a lot more battle.
Mm.
Monster Hunter is all about battle, and I think it adds a different level of serious to it than F-Zero does. And you made a good point saying that it does add seriousness to it. It adds a level of seriousness to it. But I believe, my track I chose, main theme, it has a different level of seriousness. It's almost quite grave and more serious. That as it makes it even more realistically serious, a serious fight.
Mm,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to that? I mean, it's more like a small debate, I would say, on
I
that
could
point.
agree with that. I can agree that the monster, like if you compared the main theme
Mm.
that you chose to like the F-Zero theme, if you compared those two, then yeah, they are both obviously driven pieces, and they are important, and they are like it's like yeah, battle, ready for battle, but they're ready for battle in a
Yeah.
different way. Like your one is ready for battle in like a oh god, I'm gonna die thing to be ready for
Yeah.
battle, and in my one it's more like I'm ready to beat someone up and then walk away like nothing happened. Kind of like
Yeah.
it's more fun, it's more casual,
Yeah.
whereas your
Then
one's
again,
more
I do get
intense.
that.
So
Yeah.
it's I guess yeah, it's more
It's more what you
yeah. If
want
you
to
want
do.
something light-hearted or if you want
Mm.
something heavy and emotional,
Mm.
I guess that's another difference between it. I guess for me
Yeah.
personally, when I'm listening to like video game music in my own time, I listen
Mm.
to a mix. I listen to very emotional pieces. But I guess because I'm a drummer, I prefer
Mm.
really groovy tracks or really energetic tracks because I
I
can
can
then
understand
imagine
that.
myself
Yeah.
drumming to it. So yeah, I think
Mm.
that's probably why I again lean more towards the Super Smash Bros
Mm.
tracks. But
Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah.
make a good point with that. You make a good point.
Yeah, that's understandable. I again, these are all really great tracks that we've chosen, and again, this is more artist perspective again. So I feel like the winner is not, I think, just because the music tracks are better. It's just because of what people preferred. Our listener, it's more of what our audience mixed. I believe this is people listening to this is going to be a mix of your audience and my audience, right? And they're gonna. It's just really interesting to see what the overall chosen soundtrack would be. Again, this is why
Yeah,
this
yeah.
this series is created. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We've given a good stand against it. Any last points you'd like to make?
I think you should all vote for me and my soundtrack.
I don't
No,
think
I'm kidding.
so.
That's
I
fine.
think I was perfect. No, okay, yeah, but yeah,
No,
yeah.
I think we've given our points clearly, and it
Mm,
is more of a we
mm,
just want to see what at this point we just want to see. We both know what we like more, but we just
mm.
want to see what you like more.
We want to see what you like more,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
So it's really exciting.
Yeah, we're
So
looking forward
honestly,
to the
this
votes.
is, yeah, it's been a, we're looking forward to the votes, guys. We're gonna now. Honestly, this is the end of the Nintendo Music Wars episode 1. Monster Hunter Ultimate versus Super Smash Bros Brawl. Am I correct on that? Yep,
Mhm.
Super Smash Bros Brawl versus those two. They're the ones clashing in this episode. Which one will win? Well, it's up to you guys. Please do vote. Please, again, this series will not be possible if you don't vote. So I can't put any more seriousness on this. Vote, do it.
Yeah, I only have 2 YouTube accounts, guys. I can only vote twice. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I can't I can't put any polls on my community tab posts, and I've actually mentioned this in my latest YouTube video coming out, which is also out right now. But it's just it's really annoying. It's really annoying that YouTube are like, you're a robot, you're not a human. We have to wait till you're a human.
Yeah, hopefully that will get sorted out. But
exactly.
A reminder. You can vote on the YouTube community tab for both my channel and the GIS Gaming podcast channel. It will be on Spotify, Discord.
Spotify polls, Discord. Yeah. I'll put it out as literally tomorrow's just going to be on. We make sure every single platform is covered if I can. And even if you can't do any of that, write in your vote to our podcast email. It doesn't take 5 seconds. Well, it probably does take 5 seconds, but it doesn't take that long.
It doesn't take long, yeah.
It doesn't take long. Just JRsGaming135 Gmail. I'm about to say a bit slower. JRsGaming135@gmail.com. It's no capitals, just simple as that. Just write in, and then simply just write in my vote, and then just put the title. No big bells and whistles with that. Just put the title, and then I'm gonna round it all up in one big go. Please.
Yeah, we'll combine our votes from both our sides of things. So
and we'll find out. Yeah,
by Saturday.
We'll find out by Saturday, and then on Sunday, when the next episode is released, you'll find out who gets the point. And at the end of the series, the person with the most points wins the Nintendo Music Wars. And I'm still trying to think of what we're gonna. I want to try and get
We'll do a punishment or a gift or both or something. Yeah,
like a punishment and a gift. This is going to be fun. So you guys want to find out?
We could order a trophy or something.
Yes, I might see what I can do. It's investing in the channel and stuff. So we'll see what we can do. But yeah. Anyway, guys, now who will win? Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate versus Super Smash Bros Brawl? Which game was better? Had better music? We will now leave it up to you, the listener. We want you to vote which game soundtrack you preferred. This is really important, as you guys will make this series possible. Please write a comment down below, or take part in our polls that we will be posting on Spotify, YouTube community post, and Discord. If you are unable to do any of this, please write in your votes to our email, jrsgaming135@gmail.com. You have until next Saturday. Very important, guys. Deadline is next Saturday. The battle is on. Only one of us can win. Who will it be? This is the Nintendo Music Wars.